Good morning, everybody. How are you? Nani said it best. Nani said it is Baby Friday. That sounds much better than one more day of a crazy week. How is everyone doing? I see some new names in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just got a compliment. Who is that? Gina? I think it was Gina. She said, I love it that you're always on time. Actually, that is one thing you will know about me. I'm a really prompt person. I'm either right on time or I'm an hour early. It's crazy. Plus, I love chatting with you guys. So, we are back talking about Michael Vaughn. Bonnie's here. Hello, Bonnie. I've missed you. Um, Nothing new is going on, but I like to talk about Michael, keep Michael's story going, keep Michael's case going. But I specifically today, well, it would help if I got my notes. I want to talk about Brandon. I believe Brandon knows more. I believe his mother, Tina, knows more. Reason being, Brandon spoke very candidly to another YouTuber, JLR, and since then, he started a new Facebook account. He talks to people readily. Pretty much anybody that wants to talk to him, he goes back and forth with them. And he seemed to have changed some things that he said. Now, we do know that the Chief Huff, said that he believes Adrian and Brandon know more. He has made contact with them, but he has not arrested them. We don't know what's going on. Hot Tub Dude knows more. Dina, yes, that is Hot Tub Dude. You're exactly right. Before I get to all that, changing the subject a little bit here, it would have helped if I had my notes in front of my face before I started the show. That's what happens when you get in a hurry. Anyhow, if you guys get a second or 4 minutes, check out the video I put up yesterday about Madalena Kojakari. It's way more concerning than we realized. Also, for some reason, YouTube keeps turning the comments off for that video. If you ever see comments turned off, please know that I did not do it. Message me and I'll figure out what's going on. Just like I don't delete comments. Now, sometimes people, when they get called out for a certain comment, before I'm done reading their comment, I just have to say their name. They'll go find their shit and delete it. That's not me. If people delete their own stuff, then I can't do anything about it. But if you do see that, I don't know what's going on, and I just have to go and turn them back on. 3 times yesterday, I had to turn the comments back on for that one video. I even changed the title of it. I thought it's because I had a certain word in the title. Nope. They're just hating on the whole subject altogether. Drives me insane. But please go check it out. It's going to remind it's a reminder as well. There's a lot of cases that we talk about on this channel, and one of the most frequently asked question is, why don't the FBI get involved? Why don't the FBI just take over? Well, they do for cases with certain elements, like this one, Monkey Vaughn. He was abducted. He is of the 1%, less than 1%. He is the victim of a stranger abduction. The FBI is definitely all up in that. Now, some people, like I say it on here all the time, be careful where you step out there. It gets crazy. It gets dangerous. Not everybody is as open-minded and intelligent as we are. I'm using Aaron's compliment. Aaron this morning said, intelligent chat. Yes. So the FBI is very much involved in this case because it's a stranger abduction. Now, some people will say, nope, it's not. I love when people disagree with law enforcement. I love when people disagree with the FBI because you wonder, is your brain broke? You can't possibly have any evidence. You can't get warrants. You can't get cell phone data. You can't pull CCTV. You're just fucking around on the internet, but you know more? You know more than them. Anyhow, we don't do that here. We'll disagree with law enforcement. We can call them assholes all day, but at the end of the day, they have the evidence. So the case of Monkey Vaughn, FBI is very much in it because he was abducted. The video I put up yesterday about Madalena Kojikari, FBI is all up in that Kool-Aid because they believe she's been trafficked. So it's just a friendly reminder when some people, not us, because we're wired a little different way, when they're like, why doesn't the FBI do something? Well, because it's something that the local offices can handle themselves. They don't need them. But in this case, FBI needed, in it, and on it. I'm going to go through some comments from the last show. Going to bring up Lana. We're going to discuss heavily Brandon, idiot, his mother, who keeps getting called out on social media. Some people are like, leave his mom alone. Granted, we know it's not going to do anything to poke at Tina, but we also know that Tina laughed and said that the police, law enforcement, the dogs let her know she had a leaky potty. That's not what they were picking up on Tina. You know it, and I know it. You know it, and I know it. Court K said, I have to put my glasses on. She said, I've said it once and I'll say it again. This is how the parents of a missing child act. Brandy is a strong woman. I'm sure she doesn't feel like she is, but I have the utmost respect for her. I do too, and thank you for that, Court. Brandy can check the comments anytime and she can see that she has a lot of admiration, a lot of respect, and a lot of love coming from this community because I've just like Court K, I've said it once and I'll say this a million times. I would never want to go through what their family is going through. I wouldn't wish it upon the person on this planet that I hate the most. I don't really know who that is, but if there was somebody I hated the most, I wouldn't wish it on them. Boy Mom 1981 said, this is so heartbreaking. I pray that they are able to find out what happened to Michael and bring every single person involved to justice. Bring every single person involved to justice. She says, I still wonder if the babysitter knew the Wandras. Eek. Don't think it hasn't crossed my mind. She goes on to say, she happened to run to Nampa around the same time Brandon is claiming to be in Nampa, the day Michael disappeared. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but it still crosses my mind. Oh, I got Lana backstage. I'm going to discuss this comment with Lana. Good morning, Lana. How are you?
Good morning, Brooks. I am freezing back in Idaho.
What's the temperature?
Oh gosh, I don't want to look. Cold. We got dumped on some snow a little bit last night and out my office. It is 28 degrees, partly cloudy. Gonna rain a little bit and a lot tomorrow, it looks like. So,
geez, it's been, sorry, my allergies are acting up. I could barely talk sometimes yesterday. Probably a good thing. It has been pouring whores here all day. I mean, big raindrops. It's, and I've got to get out this afternoon and, I'm sugar. I'll melt. I don't like to go out in the rain. But the
only time I really like the rain is, when it gets really hot in the middle of the summer. and you get that nice evening rain that just kind of randomly dumps and cools everything down. I
Mhm.
love that kind of rain.
Now, I don't know if you heard the comment, but Boy Mom 81 brought up
Hmm.
some very good points regarding the babysitter. I don't need to say her name. The babysitter and some coincidences with Brandon. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know. The babysitter's always been an interesting storyline, if you will, to this whole case. The moment, I came in to meet the Vaughns was 5 or 6 months after Michael was abducted. And at that point, they were just saying high probability of abduction. And there was a lot of, small town talk. And when the babysitter went online and said people were screaming kidnapper at her while she walked down the street, that is accurate. People were doing that to her randomly because they felt she was definitely involved. And I think there's a lot of people that still hold that opinion because, as we know from the YouTube streets, no matter what kind of fact is placed in front of you, people are going to stand by their opinions no matter what. I'm on the fence with her. I definitely don't agree with the babysitter's behavior and what she has done to the family and this case, all, it's saying it's for monkey and whatnot. But I don't know that she's tied to the Wondras. In fact, all I've heard thus far is that she's not tied to the Wondras. So I mean, that's really what I believe, is that she's not tied to the Wondras.
And it's safe to say that if we've thought of it, they've already investigated it. And I'm sure that Chief Huff has heard about the babysitter and
Oh yeah,
probably already
they're
tried.
well aware.
I'm sure
well,
they're
well
well.
aware.
Still, very interesting comment. Before I get to the next comment, Slim, where were you yesterday? Did you go play bingo or something? I didn't
Oh
see
my
Slim
gosh.
yesterday. All right. Stephanie Weber said that Brandon guy talking about Stacy being the one who kept pushing for kids and Sarah didn't want them, but he wanted a child really bad and supposedly said he'd be okay with adoption. That really creeps me out. What did he want a kid so bad for? I think she had an idea and finally gave him what he wanted. That got to me too. Stacy was the one really pushing for children. Sarah even wanted Brandon to give her a child. And I don't
Right.
want to paint you a picture of how she wanted that to go down.
Right. I definitely would not want to ever be a fly on the wall in that home at any point of any of these conversations. When Michael first was missing, and I again, when I came into this, I didn't know either way whether the parents were involved or not. I hadn't been following or really digging into the case. I just wanted to help share information and help find this little boy from my hometown area that looked so much like my own little boy when he was that age. and
Yeah.
and now, here we are all these months later, and all these questions that are still unanswered. And I know, matter of fact, that the parents aren't involved, of course, but I go back to that because originally I thought someone had to take this cute little boy because they just wanted a child. And so to hear that, in the shirtless interview, hot tub an interview that he gave, I was like, whoa, gosh, maybe that was the motivation. Who knows at this point? That's not been released, and I don't think we'll know motivation for quite a while. But it is something I thought about for sure.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting comment. And I love how she picked that out. Good morning,
Hmm.
MK. Good morning, Chris. Hello, Britt. Big boy made it in too. Um, because a lot of times in relationships, it's not the man that is pushing for a family. It's usually the woman.
Right, right.
And in this relationship, it was him pushing for children. Um, I guess the problem was on his end because she seemed to be convinced that a few times in the sack with Brandon would get the job done. I don't know.
Well, I'd imagine, and this isn't to be body shaming by any mention of this, but Stacy I would imagine, has a lot of health issues. He's over 500 pounds from what I've read. So that would bear a lot of health issues, and maybe fertility is one of them. I don't know. I'm not an expert on obesity and all that, would come with that.
Well, no, and I'm no, this it's not body shaming. It's just the obvious. I mean, there's also the physical limitations, um,
Hmm.
aerodynamically of hitting your target.
Correct. I love how you
Okay?
put it.
He's got some things in the way.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's so but she thought that Brandon would be able to get the job done. Brandon must have felt super important that day.
It's just disgusting to me to think about, and for Brandon to still be proudly out there on social media blasting like he's, ha 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 ha, I'm not arrested, I had nothing to do with this, and all his religious posts that he's making also, and to know that he was there for as long as he was, he's got to know something.
Mhm.
And these interviews, these comments, his mother's statements, like all of it just makes it look even more suspicious, in my opinion.
Well, the recent going back and forth, and this is public, this wasn't anything that I hijacked or stole. He seems to have changed his story a little bit.
Oh, what did you see?
It was between him and an account called Hope Remains.
Okay.
And this person even called him out and said, "Your your story has changed from when you talked to JLR."
Ah, interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting because the JLR interview, of course, is when he told us all that, he and Sarah were running around to Applebee's, which, if you're from the area, the closest Applebee's to Fruitland is in Nampa. And they allegedly had picked Adrian up from the airport, and then, all ran around, and, everything that he outlined during that day trip until they went back to Fruitland. And that's when, of course, he said, people were everywhere asking if they knew Michael Vaughn or had seen Michael Vaughn.
Mhm. Well, this is one thing that he posted. I'm not going to get into the other, with this person's account or anything, but
Uh-huh.
it's concerning the way he phrases things. He says, "Yes, cuz Adrian did love me and was my friend. I was not his." See, now they're all turning on each other if you've noticed. They
Yep.
were thick as thieves, all piled up in that homeless flop house, but now they have no love to give. He says, "But I was not his when I should have been Fokker's. We got into a fist
Mm.
fight the night before he took off with my NHRA team racing jacket."
Oh.
Classy, classy. I wish it was a Marlboro jacket, okay? Yeah, that you buy with,
That I got with
cigarette
my
points.
membership points.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your aunt had to smoke like 500 cartons to get that jacket, you know? His NHRA team racing jacket was robbed and kicked out into the streets where I come from and belong. He belongs in the streets? Nope, I wouldn't say the
Mm.
streets. The streets where I come from and belong. That is all. 100%, 100 love you world. They find him unharmed. Now, this is where I think he's talking about Monkey. They find him unharmed because if I find out anything bad, in quotes, happened, I will kill the individual or individuals responsible. They will be shot 9mm. I can't say. You all know what a 9mm is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on God, working with Fruitland PD now.
No,
Be
he's not.
advised. No, he's not. They were looking for his dumbass. They were looking for him. He knew. He knew in July of 2021. He knew in August, September, October, November, up to today, Michael Vaughn was missing.
Yep.
He knew it. But now he says he's working with Fruitland PD. Be advised, I pack heat. Ooh, I'm so scared. Where's the NHRA team
So
racing?
does everyone else in Montana where he's at. So,
Yeah, so does everybody in Idaho.
yeah, everyone in Idaho too. The whole Pacific Northwest, they're all about their guns.
He
So
posted he was in Austin, Texas a few weeks ago.
he's not.
Oh,
He's in Billings, Montana. He put his business card on his, and again, nobody hijacked this information. Put it on his public story with a Montana phone number, and then on top of that, a coworker of someone in Payette that I know has a cousin in Billings, and he left his business card on their vehicle. So he was leaving his business card on vehicles looking for construction work in Billings, Montana, just 2-3 weeks ago.
what a fruitcake. Working with Fruitland PD now. I bet they rolled laughing when they saw that. Be advised, I pack heat. Lawyers are hired. Multiplayer, Lana.
Mm,
Multiplayer lawyers, as in many.
maybe he got 4 of them.
He don't even have one. His ass doesn't even have one. What does
I
he
don't
need?
think so. We heard through the grapevine that they'd both lawyered up, but then I also know, matter of factly, that that Adrian's been calling around Idaho lawyers trying to find somebody to speak with him. So I don't know that they've actually really lawyered up, or if that's just something they're saying.
Only thing that they will have available to them is a public defender. So if he
Yeah, at
wants
this
to
point,
go,
anyone they speak to is going to want a fat retainer. They are not going to be able to get anyone for free until they are charged with a crime. And they know that. They've been through that, both of them.
so he can either go to Idaho and answer to his warrants,
And
and
get
he'll
an
have
attorney.
and he'll have a public defender, but that public defender is not going to address anything with Michael Vaughn.
Nope.
That public offender is not going to advise him on what to do about his Facebook problems. The public defender is not going to advise him on what to do about his YouTube problems. It's all going to be about his outstanding warrants. That's it.
Yep. Just that charge.
That's what they do. People don't do more work than they have to.
Well,
When
no, and especially probably not in the public defender office at that level. This is not a high profile capital case like with Bushy. His public defender is getting a higher rate for a case like that through the state. Something like this. No, it's a lower tier. Probably newer public defender that's going to be helping you, and they're not going to go above and beyond. They're not going to even touch Michael Vaughn's case with him.
Nope. Now, whereas Michael is a high profile case, idiot, hot tub dream machine, his warrants are not. They are not at all. So I have a few people asking, who is Brandon? How does he fit in here? I'm going to go to the part of the news conference
Okay.
where Chief Huff, we all need a reminder. I know I do. I haven't had enough coffee yet
And
today.
I love to hear Chief Huff speak. He's an excellent speaker.
So we are going to hear where he knocked our socks off with this news conference, telling us all the people that they believe are involved in Michael's disappearance. And it's hard to hear.
Suggests that the following individuals who are currently in custody are involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn. This is Sarah Wandra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. Sarah is currently in jail for failing to report Michael's death. They have evidence that Michael's remains were at one time buried in her yard. Also, very creeping, very creepy, very concerning regarding Sarah is this post of Sarah's on her page. If you look over her right shoulder, that is a flyer. The flyer is, have you seen Michael Vaughn? She has it posted. She took a picture with it, and Michael's mother left it on her door. It doesn't get worse than that.
Sarah Wandra is currently being held at the Fayette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. This is Sarah's husband, Stacy Wandra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughn.
Now I'm going to pause it right there. Stacy is also currently in jail, but for nothing related to Michael. I think someday there will be charges in relation to Michael's disappearance. Terror said they look like brother and sister. That is a thought I can't get out of my head now. Very concerning about Stacy, he changed his profile picture to that of Michael Vaughn, a few days after his disappearance. Very concerning. I can't think of a name. Says, can you guys see my comments? I see you. I put it on the screen. You're not banned around here, girlfriend. I see you. Very concerning. A couple of days after Michael's disappearance, this was posted.
This thing is infoliated.
There is now, because I just made that shit up.
Babe, what did you say?
I feel exfoliated.
Exfoliating is exfoliating your skin.
Oh, well, I feel infoliated then.
There's no such thing as infoliated.
There is now, because I just made that shit up.
For some reason, it was important to them to capture him scrubbing his skin off. Red flags everywhere. So now we know about Stacy and Sarah. Now we're going to get to Brandon and Adrian.
Stacy's currently being held in the Washington County Jail on unrelated charges. Now, the next individuals I'm going to introduce you to, let's go at the bottom there. This is Brandon Hurtleff, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance. And we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Brandon is currently believed to be in North Dakota.
Okay, since this press conference, Brandon has come out of hiding. He did an interview with JLR. We don't talk about other creators here, but sometimes if they have talked to someone directly linked to a case, victims' families, a suspect, obviously it has to be brought up. And he did have a conversation with this guy. He was living in the house. Just my opinion.
Well, and then recently I was shared, I want to add this for your followers, and I know I shared this with you, but we'll have to go get those documents. I'm not sure where I have them, but Brandon is named in Stacy's current federal gun charges. Brandon went with Stacy to that gun store when Stacy committed that act of illegally selling those guns to a gun store. So that was the following spring. So Brandon was there at least from Michael's abduction to the following spring when Stacy was charged with those gun charges. So he was there through all of that.
Would it be a far stretch, a far reach for me to say if he would be involved in the gun charges, he could possibly be involved or know a hell of a lot about Monkey's disappearance? Would that be a far reach?
I don't think it is, because if you know, as anyone who's been following knows, the last briefing Chief Huff gave after the excavation of the backyard, he said multiple cadaver dogs positively hit, and law enforcement fully believe Michael was buried in that yard. And again, not shaming, but these two other individuals, I don't think have the capacity to bury another person by themselves. I
No.
think somebody more physically able to do so would have had to have helped with that portion of it.
And again, I'm not body shaming. I got accused of body shaming Dee Dee Speicher. You know, Terry Horman's friend in the Kyron Horman disappearance. I got
Right.
accused of body shaming her. No, I'm child abuse shaming. There's a difference. Now, I'm not trying to be grim or gross here, but when you are digging a hole, burying something, whether it be a tomato plant, a rose bush, it takes a lot out of you to move earth and pack it back in. Stacy and Sarah could never do this. Adrian and Brandon look pretty fit.
Well, and Brandon's been dropping all kinds of weird stuff in his story. I know I sent you the picture recently. Let me back up. So after Michael's disappearance, Sarah's parents, who own her home and live 4 houses away, applied for a permit and purchased a shed and put the shed on the property. So that's the shed that we all saw, in the yard during the searches, that they were using specialized tools around and all of that, which was publicly stated by Fruitland. So recently, Brandon posted this random picture in his story of a flyer of 4 or 5 sheds, what sheds cost, an advertisement flyer for sheds, in his story on his Facebook. Like, what is that about?
I shared that on the members tab, and it raised
There you go.
a lot of eyebrows. Everybody said, "Why is he talking about sheds? Why did Sarah, in the probable cause before they sealed it, we saw it, why did she mention the shed? He's by the shed."
Exactly.
And I agree with Tracy. She said, "How can you live with people and not know what's going on in the house?" I call BS on the ignorance. I do too. He was there when Michael was abducted. He was probably there alone when they went to make their trip to go get the pit bull. He was probably hanging out at the house when they went to do their taxi cab stuff down in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know he was also around in the spring of 2022 when Stacy got in trouble for the gun charges. He's named in the documents.
Yep.
He's much better friends with them than he is letting on. Way better.
Way better.
Adrian Lucian, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian is currently believed to be in Toledo, but floats between Ohio and California. I strongly encourage Hurtleff and Lucian to contact the Fruitland Police Department detectives, as the window of time for talking and cooperation is coming to a close. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, with conversations taking place with the Payette County Prosecutor's Office about Michael's case and those individuals involved. We also believe that there are others associated with the Wandras, Hurtleff, and Lucian, who may have knowledge of Michael's abduction.
Okay, so they have made contact with Adrian. Adrian, they just showed on the screen. If I need to go back, I will. That is who Brandon is talking about in this post right here, where he says, Adrian did love me and was my friend, but I was not his. Well, you live together when I should have been Fockers, whatever that means. We got
Yeah,
into a fist fight. Oh, I bet that looked like Rocky 10 the night before he took off. What made Adrian take off, I wonder? And he took his NHRA team racing jacket. Well, he must have gotten that for free at the fair because he does not race NHRA. But anyway, that's who he's talking about. So something caused the falling out. Would it be the gun situation in the spring? Would it be Michael Vaughn? Would it be something else? Chief Huff, and I'm going to rewind it so you can hear it, says right here, he thinks even more are involved in this ring.
And cooperation is coming to a close. This remains an active and ongoing investigation with conversations taking place with the Payette County Prosecutor's Office about Michael's case and those individuals involved. We also believe that there are others associated with the Wandras, Hurtleff, and Lucian who may have knowledge of Michael's abduction, and I would strongly encourage them to come forward and speak with my detectives. When we finally reach the conclusion of this investigation, and I can assure you that we will, all of those who have knowledge of Michael's disappearance and have failed to report or hindered our investigation will be pursued. There's a moment in time to do the right thing and bring your information forward and cooperate. And that moment in time is now. To date, the Fruitland Police Department has received over 1,500 tips and leads, and we received many new leads since this phase of the investigation has began. We continue to ask our community for support and patience as we continue to aggressively work this case. We also ask that the Vaughn family's privacy continue to be respected, and we'll continue to post updates as information can be shared. Tips can be sent to findmichael@fruitland.org or to Crime Stoppers at 343cops.com or the Fruitland Police Department at 208-452-3110. Tipsters can remain anonymous. So before I open it up for questions, I just want to make it clear that this is a very active and ongoing investigation. It's super important that we maintain the integrity of this investigation. So I'd ask you that you'd please tailor your questions accordingly. With that, I'll stand for a few questions. Alex?
So if Michael's remains are not found, will Sarah have to be released, or do you think that she will remain in jail once you locate the other people that you involved?
It is my belief that she will remain in custody. But again, we're in talks with the Payette County prosecutor, and those talks are ongoing.
Okay, I played it to that part because that's an important question. She said, if you don't find his remains or don't find them in a timely manner, can you continue to jail her? He said he's in talks with the Payette County prosecutor. They have evidence that Michael was at one time buried in that backyard. How awful is that? So not only was he in that backyard, he got moved somewhere else.
Correct. That's what they said after the results of that extensive dig at the property last fall, was that they have evidence to believe that Michael had been buried there and then later moved.
Mm-hmm. And also, it goes without saying, he said in this press conference, please respect the Vaughn family's privacy. You know, I have heard people saying it's disrespectful to use his nickname. That is that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Because if you're looking for a child and that child is used to being called by their nickname, like my kids all have nicknames, that's what they're going to answer to. It's not disrespectful. And we have a new slew of course, perfect parents saying, oh, don't leave your kids alone. He wasn't left alone. He wasn't left alone.
Right. He wasn't left alone. He was in the living room inside his own home with his other siblings.
And they're saying parents shouldn't do drugs. Well, no shit. Who was saying that Brandy and Tyler were doing drugs? Brandy was at work. Tyler was taking care of Buggy. There was also another child in the house. What is wrong with these people? They weren't there, but they're just making stuff up.
They're making stuff up because of, previously released recordings and hoopla and, internet sleuths that, take one position and ride it to the death, no matter what comes out or what truths, are surfaced and given to the public, they are going to stand their ground that they're right.
Yeah, doesn't work that way. But those people go
No.
away because by the time the evidence starts coming out and hitting them in the face, they go away. So that's fine. All right. So in the probable cause, which I do not have a copy of, I have an article in the Idaho Statesman. I don't need to go through all of it now. We can do it on another show because I want to get to JLR talking to Brandon and how the story has changed. It's very concerning. The heat's on and
Yes.
he's feeling it. The heat is on and he's feeling it. I
Agreed.
Just my opinion, Sarah has a little bit of a crushy crush on Brandon because when confronted by the police while she was laying on her couch like a beached whale, when they busted in to talk to her, she blamed Adrian and Stacy. She said God told her. She failed to mention Brandon. She wanted his man juice to have a baby. Mention Brandon.
Well, Brandon has children, or at least a child, that's been publicly stated. And his baby mama has been very vocal publicly on Facebook supporting him, even though they're not together that I know. And doesn't seem like he's really around in Idaho seeing his child much lately. So I don't know how involved he is with his child or children. But I did have a woman reach out to me that dated him recently in Montana and had children and said that she broke up with him because her daughter didn't like him. Her kids were little and didn't like him, and there was something that just didn't make her feel comfortable, so she broke up with him because of that. And I gave her Fruitland's contact and I said, please reach out to Fruitland Police, no matter how small the information might feel, it could be relevant, and forwarded her there. But yeah, from the mouth of babes, the little kid was uncomfortable with Brandon, the boyfriend.
It's the damnedest thing. It really is. And it's no secret why Adrian and Brandon aren't cracking the case, because it's going to implicate them. I am very curious as to who else is involved. I think it's a ring. I think it is a ring, and I think it's going to take a long time for them to get everybody rounded up. Chief Huff said in a press conference, he wasn't doing like me on my panel going, you know what I think? He's not doing that. He's saying we have reason to believe there are other people besides these 4 imbeciles involved.
Well, and he's said that before in a previous presser, that there was multiple non-compliant people in the community. Why do you think people are being non-compliant? Because they know something.
Exactly. And 4 blows my mind. But when he's saying more than just these 4 that you're looking at, look at these 4 glamour shots right in front of you. Besides
Right.
these 4 lookers, there's more.
There's more.
Sick. Dina said very much like Delphi. Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, it is in that way for sure. Where
we'll never
people
forget
knew.
when Doug Carter went and confronted Kegan Kline. He said, your Dropbox has opened the biggest CP ring in Indiana history.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling a conversation similar to that is going to be had with one of these freaks soon. I'm only going to play part of this interview. It's a great interview, and I'm going to link it so you guys can see for yourself. It's not about the creator, it's about what Brandon said. Brandon is very much involved or knowledgeable of the disappearance of Michael Vaughn. Anywhere you need me to stop it or rewind it, let me know. But this is about halfway into it.
Guys are out. Michael Vaughn goes missing around, we'll say 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And, you know, what happened? Where was Starkey? Where was Carson Starkey?
I think he was driving for another company at that time because he was mad at Sarah and Stacy because they were kind of trying to give him a little bit of bluff or a little bit of grief, and he was like, you know what, I can go work somewhere else or be part of somebody else. I don't have to sit here and take your guys' nonsense.
So, interesting. What about the Cesar Garudo? What's the deal with him? Is he involved? Could he be involved?
Okay, so he's asking about some other friends who haven't been named by the police, but it's just a conversation. He's just asking, where was the other dudes? He said
I think these are people that he just found in pictures on their Facebook and looked up their identity and just threw their names in the conversation.
But they do know the Wandras, so I think, I mean, it could be a little more than that, but yeah. So he said he got tired of their BS and he went to drive for another company. Let me explain the wonderful package offer that Sarah has for people that drive for their taxi company. It's a offer you can't refuse. You have to have your own car to work at their taxi company. You have to have your own insurance, pay for your own fuel. They tell you, they dispatch you, as they call it. They dispatch you, and then you give them the money and they pay you out of the money. What a great deal, Lana. Did you ever think about driving for them, Lana?
No, but it's highly concerning to me that Carson Starkey was driving for them, considering his and his wife's record. And I know they weren't named, and I know law enforcement stated that they were compliant and they allowed, search of their property. But they are directly next door to the people who they have evidence, had Michael for a period, and they worked for them for a period, and they were right there. So are they other people who knew something and are also being quiet?
Not
Or are they?
cooperating?
Yeah, it's just too coincidental.
But they got mad and were done, tired of their stuff. Why would anybody take them up on the offer to work in this taxi business unless it was a front for something else?
I've thought that as well, because clearly we all know some of the routes they took for their taxi business to the other states, which is just ridiculous and definitely questionable.
Yep.
Bob, was he around their house?
I know that he went to their house like one time. Other than that, me and Stacy went to his house one time, and he had a couple other friends over there, and they were just kind of hanging out and chilling with a couple other people.
But Cesar was not around the house the time Michael went missing.
As best as I know, yeah, that's true.
Interesting. So you never seen Michael. Have you ever hear Sarah or Stacy talk about the Vaughns or mention the Vaughns or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went? That was the first time that came up to my attention.
I think we can call BS on this. For one, nobody stops the car and says, hey, there's somebody around here missing. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him? How would Brandon know a 5-year-old child? How would Adrian know a 5-year-old child? Who stops the car to make that announcement? He said, never, ever, to my attention, except that one day they flat out asked me if I knew him.
I think they did have people at that one entrance off the subdivision, when they had all of the community and law enforcement out that evening flooding, I think they did have people out there, stopping vehicles that were coming in and out and asking if they'd seen the little boy and what they might know. But I almost imagine that was, a little bit later. It wouldn't have been right at 7 o'clock when they would have already, because that's, around when the 911 call came and all that. So they wouldn't have had, somebody there positioned already asking, do you know who Michael Vaughn is? That would have taken a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm. Danny said, I'm just not ready to speculate beyond the Wanderers, beyond the Wanderers, beyond their weirdo creep friends. Oh, I'm not going to lump anybody in with them, and I'm not going to get all crazy conspiracy theory. I just believe what Chief Huff says when he says he believes there is more involved than just the 4 he has named. But I'm not.
There's also, Danny and anyone listening to you, one person that we know is definitely involved is whoever the credible tip from inside the home was. So that person definitely knew something, and then anyone they told definitely knew something.
Mm-hmm. And I can see where this story seems really crazy. And it's like, is this a Netflix series? What the hell is going on? And it is horrible, horrible. Tammy, great point. Tammy said, so he didn't see the flyer on the wall in the house he was staying in? Never ever, he said. Never ever. Real quick, Lana, are you a beer drinker?
More of a craft beer drinker, I bartended many years while in college, and there's a lot of craft beer around here, but not so much anymore, more socially. Yeah.
Okay. So you wouldn't just get into the hot tub and tear up a 12
Coors and a cigarette? No.
Coors Banquet. Anybody?
Like my dad.
Does anybody drink Coors Banquet beer? Reminds me of like back in the 80s when our parents had the beer cans and the tabs came off.
Yes.
And you'd step on them and, get them caught in your foot and shit.
Yeah.
Those were the days, man. It's a wonder
Those were the days with the wood panel walls and the orange couches. Yeah.
I wonder how we made it to 1990 some days. All right, let's get back to all right. Ava says, nope, she doesn't drink the banquet beer. Nana says, my hubby does. Kat said, and they use the tabs to fix your car up too. They damn sure did. Corey says, don't drink while in the hot tub. No, you should not drink in the hot tub. Should not drink in the hot tub.
And then, as far as I know, they both said, no, we don't know where he's at. Let's go help look for him from that point.
But they never went to look for him. So he trails off from here. You're going to see it in a second. Let's go look for him. I don't think that conversation ever happened. I think he threw that in to take the onus off of him and his friends. Just my opinion. What a marvelous photo on the screen, by the way. Drink it up before I hit play, Lana.
Oh, I'm soaking it in, Brooks. Thank you. Thank you for this shot.
Anybody want to take a screenshot? Let me know. I can come back to it.
Interesting.
Did you see Brooks?
Man,
they're bringing back the firing squad in Idaho.
I did. Not the last 2 or 3 shows ago, I did for the kids in Idaho, Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. I put the senator there that's reintroducing it. Hey, have at it. Have at it. F-A-F-O. Isn't that what all the kids say nowadays? F around and find out. That's what the cool people say.
I'm so scatterbrained here because it's just a mystery. It's a mystery.
It is. That's all it is right now at this point. Yeah.
But you're assuring, like, if the Vaughns were watching right now, what would you say to Michael Vaughn's family?
I would say, don't lose hope. Keep your head up, keep your chin up, and know that he might still be out there somewhere because they never brought him into their house when I was there, not once. No little kids ever even came into that house, and I was there like a good majority of the time running a taxi business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he says it right there. I was there a good majority of the time running the taxi business. Keep your chin up, keep the hope.
Yeah.
Beautiful
He was
words.
never brought into that house.
Mhm.
Not while I was there. Never brought into that house.
Never. No, never brought in. No little kids
he-
came into that house, and I was there a majority of the time.
Yeah. Was he in the shed? Is that why the
Well,
shed
and
pictures, Brandon?
yeah, that's what I'm wondering myself. He wouldn't be in the house if they kept him in the shed. Brandon made note not too long ago about sheds. Sarah said he's buried by the shed. Never, not once, except
And the people that I knew that was there, they seemed like they were all right, decent people.
who else was there? Him, Adrian, Sarah, and Stacy, we know 100%. But he makes it sound like there's multiple people in the house. They all seem like they were good, decent people to him.
Weren't trying to do that. They were just trying to have normal everyday lives, you know?
They were just trying to have normal everyday lives, you know? No, it's not a normal everyday life for a bunch of adults to pile into the flop house. Let's look at how close this house is. Danny said he talked about that cellar in the bedroom and the dog going to it. I missed that. Let's look at how close the house is. You see where the Vaughn family home is, then the home where the police were searching. They didn't have far to go. The police aren't searching there now. This is from several months ago. I mean, these are his words, not mine. The other people that lived in the house, not Adrian, not Sarah, not Stacy, the other people, they were just trying to have normal everyday lives, you know?
So, what's your family think about what's going on? Did you tell them?
Yeah, I told them. The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone, doing like siding in Montana and stuff, trying to pay bills, and they're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out. Don't know what's happening, what's going on.
So, do you feel like the detectives think you're involved, or they just want to ask you more about the Wandras? What is the detectives' reasons of coming to you?
I think they want to find out more about like the Wanders and their lifestyle, of how they are and what they do. And I'm probably the best guy to ask because I was there around them.
He said it. They want to know about the Wanderers, what kind of people they are, their lifestyle, and I'm probably the best guy to ask. These are his words, not mine.
Well, considering how long he lived there, I'm sure he knew them very well.
Mm-hmm. Let's see Grandma Bunny was backstage and then she disappeared. But he says, I'm probably the best guy to ask because I was around them. I was there. He even takes the onus by saying, I ran the taxi cab the majority of the time.
Right.
Most of that time.
Did you feel detectives think you did something, or was it, were they hard on you and questioning? Were they making you feel like you're guilty of something?
Well, they were pretty stern. You know, they wanted to get to the bottom of it, and they kind of interrogated me, and they were pretty rough and aggressive with it. And I said, listen, guys, I didn't do it at all. And if they're saying that this happened and that they did it, they know more about it than I did, because when I was around them, they didn't act that way.
Okay, we're going to have to listen to that part again. He's talking really fast and he's trying to talk himself out of something. This is a really important thing he says. They were kind of stern with me. They kind of interrogated me. They were pretty aggressive with me. Look, they don't get all aggressive and shitty with you if they're just asking about someone's lifestyle.
Well, and kind of think about what his mom said in her Facebook Messenger interview, that they even asked her if she had something to do with it. So they were clearly being a little aggressive with her in their questioning as well.
Uh-huh. And that's just his mom. But she sort of made light of it, in my opinion. It really turn me off what she said.
Same.
Do you feel like the detectives think you're involved, or they just want to ask you more about the Wanders? What is the detectives' reasons of coming to you?
I think they want to find out more about like the Wanderers and their lifestyle, of how they are and what they do. And I'm probably the best guy to ask because I was there around them the most at that time.
Did you feel detectives think you did something, or was it, were they hard on you and questioning? Were they making you feel like you're guilty of something?
Well, they were pretty stern. They wanted to get to the bottom of it, and they kind of interrogated me, and they were pretty rough and aggressive with it. And I said, "Listen, guys, I didn't do it at all. And if they're saying that this happened and that they did it, they know more about it than I did, because when I was around them, they didn't act that way." So they're like, "Okay." And then from there,
The police were like, okay, because when I was around them, they didn't act that way. How does someone who abducts children act? I wouldn't know. What red flag was he looking for? This is his words. When I was around them, they didn't act that way. Help me.
I don't know, but I can't remember his name now. I was trying to think. But there was a guy who was convicted. He was the one that would kidnap little boys from the movie theater. And later he was interviewed after he was caught and crossed. He went to prison, and he was asked, like, what did you do right after you successfully, completed an abduction? What were you thinking, feeling, doing? And he admitted he was very calm and just went through his steps. And the first thing he did was turned on the TV, and they said, why, for the kid to watch something? And he said, no, so he could watch the news and see what the sheriff was saying. So the first things they do is go watch, and see what's going on regarding the case.
JC, I love this comment. If you can see the screen, JC said he didn't do it. What's it if he didn't know anything? What's the it?
Yeah, that's something I caught as well. Great point, GC. There's also another word slip of some kind when he says he'd never met Michael Vaughn before, or any of them before.
Before
What?
You never met him before, so you did meet him.
Right.
If I said, well, I'd never met Lana before the Michael Vaughn case, but I wouldn't say before if I have no idea who the person is, right?
Correct. So that's another word slip, and why this interview is very telling.
And it's very telling that now he's changing his story.
Oh yeah. I know.
it's just
He's such a loving boy.
Yeah, according to his mom, he's a very loving boy. He wasn't very loving to Sarah because he didn't lend her any of his man juice.
They hit me hard, and I told them everything I know, and then it's been a stale fish, a standstill. And we're just trying to see, like, who all was even at that point in time in history.
So you're not nervous at all? Are you nervous about being arrested at all, or anything?
Yeah, that definitely crosses my mind every day, and I know that if I go back to Idaho, I'll be arrested immediately. And, they're going to talk about me about my marijuana charges, probably do 20, 30 days in jail myself if I go back. And then from there.
So you have pending charges. Okay. Nobody cares about his pot charges, but of course it is a thing. So he's asked, are you worried about going to jail? And he says, oh yeah, that crosses my mind every day, but it's not the 20 to 30 days for the pot. He's not worried about that. He's not worried about that because he stops right there. He goes, and then he says, so he knows after 20, 30 days, that's not it. Listen to how he says it again.
Idaho, I'll be arrested immediately. And, they're going to talk about me about my marijuana charges, probably do 20, 30 days in jail myself if I go back. And then from there.
He goes, and then from there, his facial expression changes. He's kind of shaking his head nervously. And then from there, well, what's going to go on from there? If you have nothing to do with the disappearance of Michael Vaughn, what is from there? You do your 20, 30 days and get the hell out of Idaho, right? Nope.
So you have pending charges in Idaho.
Yeah, I have pending charges in Idaho just from probation and like possession of marijuana, and that's what I was in trouble with those guys for before.
I appreciate
But,
your honesty with that. Appreciate your
Yeah.
honesty. So you're not going to go back in there and try to settle it, or do you think they're going to extradite you? Try to scoop you up there where you're at?
I think for now it's just a basis of I need to get back to work and get some money because I still owe them money on those charges.
Yeah.
So I kind of just came here trying to get to work because the other people I was working for, it was hard to get paid and pay all my bills on time. So I'm just trying to find a solution to make it peaceful for everyone and kind of find out what's going on here and get to the bottom of it. That's what's on my mind right now.
Did detectives ask you about?
Okay. I don't know that much about Fruitland, how they do things, how lenient or not lenient, whatever the word is, they are with their criminals, I guess. What I would think that the pot charges and him being scared of the 20, 30 days, and then he shakes his head nervously and says, but from there, I would help him with the pot charges if he had more information about Michael Vaughn. Would they make the pot charges go away if he helped them with Michael Vaughn, or is he more worried about the from there? What's your opinion?
He's definitely more worried about the from there because he knows his biggest fear is if he goes and does these 20 or so days or whatever, that he won't come out, that they will find a reason to keep him in because of the Michael Vaughn case. And I think he is definitely afraid of that.
Yeah. He said from there. Well, you do your 20, 30 days, dude, and you're free as a bird, right? Free as a lark. But he says from there. Most of the time, like I said, I don't know how they do things in Fruitland, Idaho, but they don't really care about these little pissant charges like the pot deals. But if that is a great bargaining chip to say, you know what, dude, I can make this 20, 30 days go away. Talk to me. But he can't. He's still on the run. He's still lying. He's still hiding.
Any other names besides the Wandras? They say any names?
The biggest names that are coming up right now on this is Stacy, Sarah, Adrian, that
Garudo.
Yeah, Caesar Garudo and me, and I think that's it from that very day.
No mention of Starkey.
He goes, and me. God.
And me. And I think that's it on that very day. On that very day.
Uh-huh. He's naming off all the names. Stacy, Sarah, Garuda, which we haven't heard anything about him. He threw that name out, not me. So I'm assuming that the detectives talked to him about him. Adrian, me.
I don't know. I'm not positive because there's a lot of Hispanic names in the area, but I think that might be somebody that is just a registered sex offender and has other charges similar to, Michael's age or whatnot. I don't know if he's somebody that was actually there because, law enforcement has never named them. This is something Brandon and other people, other creators have brought up.
Huh. Good point. Good point.
The Starkeys, I know that they had previous charges from stuff, whatever they did in their life before. I don't even know, but
he does know. They have previous charges of what they did in their life before, but I don't really know. Of course you know, or you wouldn't have brought it up. You guys all hang around together. Birds of a feather flock together. They all have got issues and they all found each other. It is crazy to me how the damn universe works. You see some of the two biggest POSs on the planet. They will find each other, they will date, they will fall in love, they will have kids. They're drawn to each other. This house was a breeding ground for something that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube.
Yeah, they said that they went to their house and asked them. They asked Mr. Carson Starkey and his mother that was hanging out there, and they questioned Dorothy, his ex-wife, that she can't really hear that good. She has to write everything down on paper, and what she.
How does he know that Dorothy has got such a hearing problem that things have to be written down on paper, but he doesn't really know any of these people?
I don't know. Brandon is an enigma. I don't get it. How he could know this but not know that. It does not make sense.
Yeah, these are details. He has details. He starts out with never, ever, ever, except that one time they brought up Michael and said he was missing. They stopped the car and asked me if I knew. Would you ever ask anybody if they knew where a 5-year-old child was, Lana? Would any of you, if there is a child missing in your neighborhood, in your town, Amber Alert, would you say to anybody in your circle that you know, would you say, do you know where they're at? No.
No,
Lana just sent me a
absolutely
message.
not.
Lana just sent me a message. She has to go to an appointment. I'm pretty long-winded today.
That's all right. Thank you so much, Brooks. I'm always available, and I appreciate you keeping Michael's face and story out there and talking about all of these statements that don't make sense.
None. All right, girlfriend, you have a good day. We'll see you on the next one. Karma says you should stay there and keep him drunk, and maybe he'll eventually tell the truth. Hello, Allison. Hello. You would think this dude is soaking it up in the hot tub. I would think that he was getting ready to spill all his guts. Even when they are super, super drunk, we know from another case, they still keep their secrets.
He heard or seen or knows or anything like that. So I know that they've been there. I know they dug up the yard, and it's a big case, big thing here.
So you've been so now you've been Googling around following this case?
Yeah, and yes, sir. And then I seen your YouTube that you put out this morning, you know what I mean? And my picture right next to those guys, and that's when it really started to hit home. And I was like, I got to find everything I can do to help. I don't even care about me and my freedom anymore. I need to figure out what's going on here.
Now, why would he say that? Okay, obviously, it would be alarming if you see your picture by a couple of people that are suspected in an abduction. That would curl your toes. But this is what he says that really gets me. It's not about my freedom anymore. Well, what's it about? Your reputation? What do you mean it's not about your freedom anymore? Who would be questioning their freedom if they're not involved? Hitting home. Thank you, Jules. Hitting home.
And stop the lying and bring the truth to everything that I can and help.
Yeah. Do you think, based off what you've been seeing, do you think any of the Vaughns are involved?
At first, my very first thought on all that, I thought, well, maybe just the mom and the dad got in a fight about custody, because I got in a fight with my ex before about custody, and I know how that can go. So I thought it was just kind of like one of those things for the beginning. Just who gets who, and maybe the dad came and got the kid and took him to his house, and the mom got all mad and called the cops, and that's what I thought it was from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then my second thought from there is that he might have went missing. He might have went out from his neighborhood because he was trying to go play with other kids like that, his age, and he might have got out in that field and went too far down. There's that Snake River right there by the Ontario-Idaho border right there. So I said, I hope he didn't fall in there and didn't know how to swim, or if he swam to the other side and got lost, or who found him, or what, because there's a million bazillion possibilities that could happen right here.
Yeah.
A million bazillion possibilities. We have some real point blank detail about the field and the Snake River coming straight from his beer breath mouth. Gives me chills when he starts that. He could have gone out in that field and gotten in the Snake River. How is he so familiar? Did he go hiking around the neighborhood with all his taxi cab driving? Or he's playing games with our minds.
Inside the Wander house, what does it look like inside there?
It's just a regular, like, double wide kind of a trailer house. It's not a double wide, but it's a manufactured stick built home. Just a regular 1, 2, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and a garage house.
Do they have a basement?
And they have a crawl space under there in their master bedroom. You walk in their master bedroom, take a right, and there's like this little crawl space right there.
Nothing creepy about that. Nothing creepy about that. First off, when I go to visit someone's house, if I'm spending the weekend or whatever, I don't go into the master bedroom. I don't go where people sleep, have their clothes, or whatever. How does he know that there's a crawl space in Sarah and Stacy's bedroom? He knows too much, way too much. Wicklow, thank you, girlfriend. Wicklow, I don't like the crawl space under the bedroom. People wonder, where could Monkey have been? It was a massive search. Where would you have kept him? This makes my skin crawl. How would he know that? Just because he lives there does not mean he knows every nook and cranny of the house. It's not his house. He's just flopping there. Listen to how he says it again.
Kids like that, his age, and he might have got out in that field and went too far down. There's that Snake River right there by the Ontario-Idaho border right there. So I said, I hope he didn't fall in there and didn't know how to swim, or if he swam to the other side and got lost, or who found him, or what, because there's a million bazillion possibilities that could happen right here.
Yeah. Inside the Wander house, what does it look like inside there?
It's just a regular, like, double wide kind of a trailer house. It's not a double wide, but it's a manufactured stick built home. Just a regular 1, 2, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and a garage house.
Do they have a basement?
And they have a crawl space under there in their master bedroom. You walk in their master bedroom, take a right, and there's like this little crawl space right there. And I know that was open one day, and I went in there and looked, and there was like some kind of one of their cats that got down in there and pissed everywhere.
Oh, really? Why were you looking down there?
Because it was open.
Oh, you were just seeing what it was.
Yeah.
What was he doing in their bedroom? What was he doing in their bedroom? Was it the cat piss smell that lured him in there? What was he doing in their bedroom?
What about an attic?
No, the door was open, like they wanted their cats to go down in there or something. Like that was another. I don't know. I went in their bedroom and looked to the right one day, and then that thing was open. Their basement crawl space door.
Where's it at in their bedroom? Under their bed? Is it noticeable? Is it hidden?
It's kind of, you go in their bedroom and then you go straight into their master bedroom. There's a shower on the left, and then right when you turn to the right, there's just like this little hatch door that opens.
But if someone just you could see the hatch from the wall, or you could tell something's there. I mean, is it hidden?
It's cut into the carpet, so it's like just a big piece of carpet with like a little square kind of cut out on 2 sides, and then it comes open.
Do they have a attic?
No, sir. I don't think they do.
Is their house?
There's no-
Is their house? What at the time you were there? Was it all dirty, messy, clean?
For the most part, it was pretty messy.
I think I
Kinda
saw.
mess-
I think I saw a photo of you sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. I was. That's pretty much the main spot where I hung out. Is just answered phones off the couch and went and drove taxis and went back to the couch, played PS4 and drank some beers and went to bed.
He's very ambitious. Yeah, I just hung out on the couch, played some PS4, snooped in their bedroom, inhaled cat piss, played PS4, did some taxi work. This is such a weird situation. Okay, so Sarah has the ad for the taxi business. Now, in my opinion, this is a front for other things going on, because she only had people answer the ad, or she only hired people that are like them, I guess. So not only do you have to use your own car, your own insurance, your own gas, give them the money to which they in turn pay you, you're using your own shit. And then they pay you. This makes no sense. That'd be like if you're driving Uber and you give me the money and then I hand it to you for nothing. That's stupid. So on top of this ridiculous business scheme, the people were living with them. They were living with them. Sleeping on the couch, sleeping on the floor. Welcome, Hope Douglas. Welcome. Cat piss, PS4. He's a real ambitious dude.
Who else was in that house that you've seen when you were there? Like anyone else that we haven't named that was inside that house ever?
I think there was like three or four people at least when I was there that came there. And this one guy, he got in trouble for like a BB gun and some knives or something like that. He went outside the house because him and another person other than Tanner got in a fight with Sarah about staying in the house and God and religion and all that. And he went cruising around the neighborhood and he had like some kind of a knife deal. And he was threatening that if he doesn't get to come back in the house, then he's going to like slice some people up or do this and that.
Okay, so this would be a problem. This would be a problem if you have somebody living in your house, they have worn out their welcome, and they venture out into the neighborhood with, as he calls it, a knife or a knife deal, and they threaten to slice some people up. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He mentions a name, Tanner. I don't know who the hell Tanner is. That's a little concerning. That's a little concerning to me. Karma says they hired scumbags that could be manipulated to join in their dirty side jobs. It's a flop house. Yeah.
What's his name?
I'm not quite sure on that. It was just some guy that was kind of walking the streets of Ontario.
And they brought him.
Ontario is in Oregon. Was the dude living there or not? How do you not know the name of somebody that you're living with? How do you not take attendance at the flop house? You would have to know each other's names. I'm sure they were fighting over the Cheetos. I'm sure they were fighting over the couch. Of course he knows his name. Then he switches it. Oh, he's just walking around the streets of Ontario. Brandon knows way more. He could crack this right open. There's really only one reason I can think of why he won't.
Into the house.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he was like a homeless guy in Ontario that they met one day and they just brought him back to his house.
Interesting. It does seem like it goes into a pattern of them just bringing people off the streets, or, people just, they feel like they want to help and bringing strangers into their home.
Yeah. So if something did happen, it happened like that. You know what I mean? Just people that you don't even know who the hell they are or what they're doing or what their motives are, and they just bring them in like their family. You know what I mean?
What were they all like? Would you all eat dinner together? Who cooked? Like, did everybody fend for themselves?
No, Sarah. We'd go out shopping, Sarah and I, and then we'd come home and she'd cook a nice meal for Stacy and I and her and whoever was over there for a guest. You know, that was the usual behavior.
Did Sarah use profanity?
She tried not to, but when she got really super mad, yes, sir, she was good at it.
When she got really super mad, yes, sir, she was good at it. Had to eat Sarah's nasty food. They all went. It's almost like they have somewhat of a commune going on, and Sarah's running it all. They say Sarah's a little mentally impaired. I don't think so. She's running the house. She's picking up homeless people and bringing them back, getting them to do chores for them. This is the usual behavior. Yeah, she cusses when she gets mad. You don't want any part of her getting mad. Listen to him chuckle a little bit. Keister said it wasn't a flop house. It was a home. Sarah made a flop home for them, cooked for them every night. Tried to get the gentleman in the home to possibly give her a baby because Stacy wants a baby really bad.
What would she get mad about?
She just get mad about her house not being perfectly clean or things not being the way that she wanted them to be, and just a lot of OCD. She had a lot of OCD and things being just how she left them.
Would she get mad at others or mad at herself?
No, mad at others.
Because like Stacy would leave something out and she would get mad.
Yeah.
So right. So have you seen them arguing with each other?
Yeah, almost every day. She'd go around and he'd be making messes and she'd be cleaning it up and getting after him, trying to whap him with a pot and a pan, you know, just like, you son of a bitch, clean your shit up.
Oh my. Okay, here is Sarah and Stacy having a hubby and wifey moment. Love you, Bowie Bear. You are so handsome. I can't wait till our anniversary if God allows us to make it. God did not allow you to make it because your asses went to jail. God bless you, babe. So she's posting pictures of Bowie Bear, but she also whops him with pots and pans for being a messy ass. How dare she do that to Bowie Bear?
Or get gone.
So you've seen her hit him with pots and pans?
Well, she didn't actually hit him, but if
Right.
I would have been her, hit him, because sometimes he makes messes and he just don't care, and he's kind of like a little pig in a pig pen, just kind of really sloppy.
Did you ever see her actually hit him or him hit her?
No, they never did that when I was there. They were just like, they just talk back and forth, kind of getting like, oh, I love you, little Boo Bear. I love you, little Boo Bear. And they'd be back and forth. And they were just like jokesters, kidsters.
Did she actually try to hit on you, or is that true or no?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she liked me. She was trying to get at me pretty good there for a long time. And I said, hey, listen, you're married. You know what I mean? We can't even be on the same couch chilling together doing this and that. And I'm not going to give you and Stacy a kid. And I'm not going to do that. I'll help you guys do taxi. And other than that, I'm going home. And that's what made him mad.
She actually said she wanted you to give them a kid.
Well, she said that before, and like when they were hanging out in Vegas, living in Vegas, that she said that she tried to do that with somebody else before, and they wanted to know if I'd be able to do that for them. And I said, yeah, probably not.
And there you have it. There you have it. He doesn't really know them, but he knows everything about them. They were so entwined that these two Bowie Bears were comfortable enough to hit Brandon up and say, hey, we tried with this one homeless guy in Las Vegas. He couldn't find the target. Do you think you could give us a child? And he says, yeah, probably not. That's what he says. No. No way in hell, if they are that tight with each other, that they would ask him to deliver a specimen into Sarah's ass. Did he not know more about the disappearance of Michael Vaughn? He was there. He was there. He's very good friends with them. He would sit at the table and have dinner with Sarah and Stacy. The other people in the flop house aren't mentioned being at the table. Him and Stacy. Adrian is not mentioned at the table. Adrian wasn't approached to give her a baby. He is very, very, very entwined with these people. He knows a lot about them. He was there when Michael Vaughn was kidnapped. He was there when Stacy and Sarah didn't make it to their anniversary because they went to jail. He's mentioned in the documents where Stacy had the, they call it gun problems. Yeah, he had some gun problems. He's mentioned in all that. Now, he only mentions in this interview about his marijuana problems. He's going to get 20 to 30 days for that. And then he goes, but from there, he's got a lot going on and he knows a lot about them. I'm going to take a far reach to the left, to the right, over my head, behind me, everywhere I can reach and say, he knows a lot about Michael Vaughn too. I do think if he would do it, I think he could crack this case wide open. But considering where we're sitting and how long it's been, I think there's a good reason why he won't. He's worried about the from there. He doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in jail. It happens. It happens. Don't worry about it. You'll be okay. You'll make some friends. You'll make friends in there. They'll love your stories. All right, guys, that is all I've got for today. But if you want to watch that full interview where he's in the hot tub talking to JLR, I am going to put it in the description. I just honestly think that he knows way more. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he knows more? Or do you think it is what it is? You just think that Banquet Beer Brandon, BBB, Banquet Beer Brandon, sorry. Christina says he knows everything. Joy says, oh, definitely. He knows. All right, guys, you have a great rest of your Baby Friday. If you are not subbed, please do. Please sub the channel. Please sub the backup channel too, because that's where we're covering everything that's going on in Ohio, which is extremely concerning, really corrupt. We're talking about that over on the second channel. Welcome, new members. Welcome, welcome. Please check the members tab. Don't forget, all month long, March is for members. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So I will see you guys back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, unless I see you over on Discord or unless I see you in one of the Facebook groups. You guys have a great one. Thank you for coming in here and keeping Michael's name out in the forefront. Thank you very much.